Okay, so habit number one. And habit number one is be proactive. Now, this habit is all about taking responsibility. And responsibility, of course, it stands for ability to respond. So it's basically taking that responsibility that the behavior becomes a product of your decisions based on your values and not a product of your conditions based on your feelings. So this is really all about becoming a person in control, in the driver's seat of the bus instead of in the passenger seat of the bus. So you are in control here. It's not the circumstances, etc. So the whole idea is to be proactive and not reactive. A lot of people are reactive. They go, oh, because of this happened, I didn't succeed, or because of my parents, or because of this, that, and the other, that's why I'm not successful. So they basically react to the conditions or the circumstances. Whereas successful people, they become proactive. So they take charge of their life and become responsible for what they're going to achieve, and they don't blame circumstances for things that happen in their life. So they take charge and they go, okay, if I'm succeed, this is because of me. If I fail, again, this is because of me. So we don't point fingers, and this way we concentrate on achieving the success we want to achieve. And if you believe that it's the circumstances that affecting your life, then that's what they call determinism. And there's three types of determinism: genetic determinism, psychic determinism, and environmental determinism. So if it's genetic, then it's your grandparents who did it to you. So people go, oh, I have a short fuse, or I have short temper, because I'm Irish or whatever. So they blame basically their ancestors for their circumstances in their life. The second one is psychic determinism, which is basically your parents did it to you. So they go, oh, my parents didn't treat me well, or they didn't buy me toys or whatever, and that's why I'm the way I am today. And the last one is environmental determinism, which means it's your boss doing it to you. Yeah, so it's all the people around you that making your life miserable, etc., etc., etc. As you can imagine, all of these three, successful people don't rely on this. Successful people don't look and try and point fingers to somebody who's responsible for something, but they go, okay, how can I take control and how can I become in control of my life? Okay, habit number two is begin with the end in mind. And what we mean by that is that, again, think always with the end result in mind. So whenever you're starting a project, or whenever you do start even your day, think of the how would you like this day to turn out? How would you like it to be? What would be a successful outcome? And always begin with end in mind. Some of you seen my training, where I say that Jim Rohn always says, don't start your day before it's finished in your head. So that's the same, very, very similar thing, where you begin with the end in mind. And what I want you to think about is think about a scenario where you attend a funeral. So you arrive at the funeral. There's a lot of people. You can see the casket at the front of the church or the room, etc. And you're attending the funeral. But suddenly you grow into awareness that this funeral is your funeral. It is you in that casket, all right? And you have four speakers in your funeral. You have one person from your family, you have one person from your friends, you have one person from work, and you have one person from church or from your spiritual community, etc. Now, what you want to think is, what would you like them to say in your funeral? Write their speech. Think about exactly what you would like them to say at your funeral. How would you like your family to say what sort of person you was? How would you like your friends to say what sort of person you've been in your life? What about your work colleagues or your business colleagues, etc.? If you really sit down and do this exercise, then you're really beginning with the end in mind, because you're thinking, okay, how will I want my life to be, at the end of it, etc. And this way, a lot of things starts rearranging in your life, and a lot of priorities start changing when you start thinking about things like that. So really beginning with the end in mind can be very powerful way of thinking. and then think, what sort of character, what sort of contributions, what sort of achievements uh, have you done already, and do you have in your life, and what would else you would like to achieve in your life. Okay. Uh, and here, it's this habit is what they call leadership habit, because it gives the direction. When you think of the end in mind, that straight away shows the direction of your life. Where do you want your life to go, and which direction you want it to go? So this is a leadership habit. Whenever you're starting a big project, or you're starting a new launch or whatever in your business, if you think with the end in mind, then this is where you have the leadership thinking in that situation. And you need that, because sometimes people are climbing the ladder of success, but they don't understand, they didn't realize that this ladder of success is leaning against the wrong wall. So they basically trying to achieve something in their life which is completely in contradiction with what they actually want and what they're trying to achieve, etc. So that's very, very important to sometimes step back and look at that direction, in your life. Is it going the way you want it to go? Is it going the right direction? That's why you need to think of a mission statement. And a mission statement is not just for the business, it's not just for big corporations, etc. But even for you, what's your family mission statement? What's your personal life mission statement? And things like that. Just think, what is the deep down reason for you to achieve this, for you to work hard and to succeed in business or whatever. What is the reason behind that? And you have to think about these things. Okay, habit number 3 is put first things first. And this is a personal management habit, because this takes control of speed, coordination, logistics, etc. So this is also a time management habit, because you need to think, what are the most important things in your life? And this is all about prioritizing and making sure that you're doing the things that you should be doing, and not wasting your time on certain things that you may not be benefiting from. And here we have the importance of urgency. We have importance and urgency. So this is like a self-mastery and discipline. So we have a little table here, and you can see this table has 4 quadrants. So top left, you have urgent but not important. Sorry, you have urgent and important. Top right, you have not urgent and important. Bottom left, you have urgent and not important. And bottom right, you have not urgent and not important. Now, everything you do in your day and in your life will fall into one of these 4 quadrants. So the top left, the urgent and important, these are what we call crises. When something happens where it's urgent and it's important, it has to be dealt with because it's crisis. Now, you don't want to obviously have too much of your activities in this quadrant, because otherwise this is what we call management by crisis, where everything is constant crisis in your life and you're running around, stressed and, etc., etc. Then the right one, top right, is probably the most important quadrant, because that's the most important one to work on, which is not urgent and important. I want you to think of a question. What could you do today that could impact on your business and change your business dramatically, that could increase the results in your business and could produce more results and more money, etc.? What could you do to do that? Now, if you can think of something you could do, that thing falls into this quadrant. Because what you're saying to me, it's important, because if you did it, it would change your life, but it's not urgent. Otherwise, you already be doing it, right? And this is the one quadrant that, the more energy you focus on this quadrant, the better the results will become in your life. Now, the 2 bottom ones, as you can imagine, they're not as important. So the one on the left is urgent and not important. So this is your emails, your text messages, your phone ringing, etc. It's urgent, it's there, it's in your face, but it might not be that important. But we are always, very often people are distracted in their days with these bottom left quadrant. That's your Facebook, that's your Skype and things like that. These are all the little distractions in your life that take up so much of your time, which you could be concentrating on things that are actually important. And then bottom right is not urgent and not important. Now, something like that, it's completely useless then, because if you think nothing of value can be in this quadrant that is not urgent and not important, you think of leisure, is that important? Absolutely. So it's not then bottom Right. Then it's actually not urgent and important, right? So not urgent and not important. This is the one quadrant that obviously has no use at all. So the whole purpose of this habit is really to steal from these two bottom ones, from urgent and not urgent and not important, and allocate that time to not urgent and important, to the things that can impact your business, to the things that can change your life. So this is why I always, when I do my time management training, I say to people, you need to have to-do lists where you get up in the morning and you know what things you have to do today, and then you can prioritize. You can say, okay, which of these will impact my business the most? And then let me focus on those. And that's really the reason behind this. Okay, so the next habit, number 4, is think win-win. And here we talk about win-win, right? So let's agree to communicate until we come up with solution we both feel good about. And that's thinking win-win, where not only you win, but also the other person wins as well. And this is really, really important, especially in negotiating, in building your business, etc. You always have to come up with environment where it's win-win, because otherwise you're going to have either win-lose or lose-win. Now, what we mean by that is, sometimes people say, well, this is all very nice theoretically, that, oh, everybody wins and everybody's happy and it's terrific. But in the real world, it doesn't work like that. But think about it. Can you go for win-lose with your customer? Can you win and the customer lose? Not really, because you're going to lose the customer, right? Can you go for a lose-win with the customer where you're giving away for free stuff? Of course not, because you're going to finish your business, right? Your customer will win, but you will lose. So neither of these can work. The only option that can work is win-win, where you win and your customer wins, where you win and your recruit wins, where you win and your team member wins. So the only good option is win-win, where both parties win. So, but this is not about just being a nice guy. It's also about being courageous, because sometimes people say, well, I've tried this, I was very reasonable. I was very, understanding to this person, and they took advantage of me. They took the benefit and they basically ripped me off or whatever. Then that means you went for lose-win, because you decided to lose and you let them to win. So having this win-win mentality is not about just giving away everything and not being strong. It's actually, you have to be nice, but you also have to be courageous. You have to be considerate, but you also have to be brave to stand for yourself, where you have to win too. So both parties have to win. And sometimes you have to go for no deal. So it's actually win-win or no deal. And this is really good because what it does, it stops all the manipulation, it stops all the lying and everything. Because you can sit down with somebody and say, look, let's agree to work until we can come up with a deal where both of us wins, or otherwise, let's agree to disagree agreeably, and let's have no deal at all then. And this way, it really puts you in the control of the whole situation, and there's no manipulation, there's no bad feeling behind it, etc. Okay, habit number 5, it's seek first to understand, then to be understood. And guess what? Most people actually go other way around. They don't do this. They first seek to be understood and then maybe to understand what the other person says. Most people, they don't listen. They just wait for the other person to shut up so they can start talking. And that is a problem, as you can imagine. So here you come with the attitude of, let me listen to you first. Right? And you is the most important word in the sentence. So, because the deepest hunger of human soul is to be understood. And when person feels that they're being understood, they relax, their defenses come down, etc. So this is, very often when I speak to new recruits and new consultants, they say that, oh, we find it very difficult to convince people to look at this business, or to convince people to come to a meeting. But the bad word there is convince, because you shouldn't be convincing anybody. What you should be doing, you should be asking loads of questions to interview this person, during which interview you will determine what exactly do they need. So you seek first to understand them, then you will seek to be understood by them. So first thing you want to do is ask. Find out what is it that they want from life. Where are they right now? What is it that they need? How is it that you could help them to achieve what they need? And then you can then explain to them what you have that might help them with the situation. You will see how it can change your business. So always, always, always interview people, ask a bunch of questions to determine if you can even help them. Okay, habit number 6 is synergy. And basically, this is a new and better way, new and better solution than the one you thought of before. So this is basically creating collaboration, because this is not a compromise, because compromise means 1 plus 1 equals 1.5, where both parties actually didn't get what they wanted. Synergy is when 1 plus 1 equals 3 or 4, which is actually the solution that you come up is better than the original one you thought of. And that is really synergy. And one example is, a person says, I want the window open. And the other person says, no, I want it closed. So one person says, so why do you want the window closed? He goes, well, it blows all of my papers away. But why do you want it open? Well, I need fresh air, etc. And they say, why don't we open the window next door, right, in another room? So we're still going to have fresh air, and plus your papers are not going to be blown out. Now, this is a better solution for both, because I care about the other person. Even though I wanted the window open, I care about this person. I don't want them to be unhappy. So now we've opened the window in another room. We have fresh air, but we also don't have the papers blown out. This is synergy, where we come up with a solution that is better for the both of us. And this is what we need to look for in every collaboration, in every working relationship, in every family relationship, where we can develop synergy with where the end result is better than the one that each party wanted. And this is all because, of the care for another person. All right. And then the last skill or a habit, which is called number 7, it's called sharpening the saw. And this is all about really taking time to sharpen the saw. This is the self-renewal and self-maintenance habit, where we renew our skills, we renew our knowledge, etc. And this is really, really, really important. So this can be physical exercise, mental exercise, spiritual exercise, and social and emotional exercise. Really, it's, there's a story where, a man is standing there and sawing the tree, and another man approaches and says, what are you doing? He goes, can't you see? I'm sawing a tree. And he goes, how long you been doing this? Oh my gosh, I've been doing this for a long time. And he goes, you must be tired. Oh, you can't believe. He goes, so why don't you stop and sharpen the saw? I'm too busy, dum-dum, sawing the tree, right? So, a lot of people are too busy to stop and sharpen the saw. Have you ever been too busy just driving to stop and put some petrol in and things like that? A lot of the time we focus on activity, but we forget to stop and sharpen the saw sometimes. This is why you need to go to the trainings. This is why you need to go to the opportunity meetings. This is why you need to go to conferences, etc., to listen to CDs, to read books and things like that, because that will sharpen your saw. That will get, if you sharpen your saw, you can achieve more, easier, quicker, and better, than if you just do it with a blunt saw. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. Okay, so to conclude, I wanted to tell you a little story, and it's a story about a ship, and the ship was sailing at night, and they see a light in the sea line. So one of the crew members approaches the captain and says, Captain, we have a light in the sea line. So he goes, send them a signal to starboard to get out of our way. So they send a signal, and the signal comes back, starboard yourself. So they go, that's not right. Do they not know who we are? Send them the signal who we are. And they send the signal, this is the mighty Missouri. And the signal comes back, this is the lighthouse. Right? So the story is to tell you that correct principles are lighthouses. They are natural laws, and we cannot break them. We can only break ourselves into them. So what we need to do is learn them, accommodate them, use them, and be grateful for them. So these 7 habits are laws that have been since time immemorial. And what we need to do is learn how to apply these in our life to get better results. And when you learn that, then it enlarges us and it empowers us to achieve a lot more than we could ever do with, the wrong attitude and the wrong side philosophy. So we shall never cease from striving, and at the end of all of that striving, we will arrive where we began, to know the place that for the first time. Yeah, so guys, I hope you got value from this.